And I'm not sure if we can take you live, but here we are just seeing some looters on the corner of 17th and J outside the BevMo store. We saw people climbing out of the store, and that is where we find our Vicki Gonzalez. She is standing by. Vicki, fill us in with what you've seen.
We just saw some looting at BevMo. We did see a vehicle up. Law enforcement are here. They just pulled up right now. We are backing up. People are now fleeing outside of the BevMo. This is an incredibly chaotic situation. The black truck that pulled up is law enforcement. And we saw everyone scatter outside of BevMo after several people, at least a dozen people, went in for the second night in a row here off of J and 17th.
Was that?
And we're with a big crowd of people. I mean, and Kelly Wright is still shooting. Things are escalating here.
Yeah, no, that's very obvious, and so we appreciate you doing what you can to keep us up to speed with what's happening. Are you okay?
We're still on. Yeah, Deirdre. Okay. Yeah, we're fine. Yes, we're fine. Sorry, there's a lot of moving parts here right now. And literally, when you took us live, all of this kind of all of this happened. But yeah, this is a situation where now we have law enforcement here. Before, when we were here, it was individuals going into the BevMo, taking items out. Then we saw a black truck just kind of pull up really quickly. Officers then got out of their vehicle, as you can see them right now, as Kelly Wright is shooting. And now there's an interaction and conversation happening. But Kelly, if you actually just pan over there, that is what looks like to be the owner or someone with BevMo cleaning up their establishment, their business, as all of this is taking place. He is just pressing on, continuing to clean as people are stealing from this business, as law enforcement are responding, trying to stop this, as there's a confrontation going on. So it's in many ways kind of a surreal sight right now.
Yeah, in so many ways, it's a surreal sight right now.
That black truck that we're looking at is what we initially saw as we came out to Vicki, and pull up, made the corner from J onto 17th. We saw law enforcement get out of the car. At the same time, we also saw people leaving the building, running through the holes.
There's more activity coming down J Street right now.
Vicki, we're going to ask you to back off. We want you and Kelly to back off from there.
We're trying.
All right, we're gonna you back off. Don't worry about us. We're back up on Chopper right now. Now what you're watching you're watching law enforcement heading down that direction. We're routing the chopper down into that area down by 17th and J. Again, this is the BevMo in the midtown part of Sacramento, which last night was also hit by looters. We're up over that scene right now, and you can see those squad cars responding with additional units. When we were looking at Vicki's ground shot there just a few moments ago, two things I noticed. One, I noticed some guys with crowbars, which would explain how maybe they're gaining access to some of these businesses. Second thing I noticed is people drinking. And that's a combination that's not good, and that is perhaps what's fueling some of this tonight. But clearly this particular spot has heated up, and Vicki put it perfectly a few hours ago, saying that like things have been heating. You know, you get to an area, the group moves, and it just seems to heat up and intensify. And this is the spot right now that seems to be the issue.
And as I was mentioning earlier from a ground shot that Vicki was putting up with her cameraman, this black truck in the top right-hand corner of your screen, we saw that truck pull around the corner. It stopped right in the middle of the road. There were officers that got out at the same time. We saw people leaving the BevMo through the windows, through the broken windows. Some of them had bags. It appeared that the bags were full with some items. And then on the left-hand side of the road, we saw somebody jumping into a car, almost like a getaway vehicle, waiting in the middle of the street as somebody got into the back seat and front seat, and that car took off down the road.
But I'm counting at least 10, 12 squad cars that have now flooded that scene, so additional officers and certainly visible support there at that location. As we zoom in just a little bit, you'll see some of them starting to make their way toward the front of the shop there, and as Vicki was just pointing out before we cut her free, seeing the one guy there sweeping up the road while this was going on, I mean, there's a certain level of disbelief for the people who own these businesses, who work there, wondering, I don't even know what to do, because this is so inexplicable to a lot of them, and something that we just haven't seen in Sacramento. Okay, we managed to get Vicki to a safe area. She's standing by. Vicki, fill us in with what you've seen and what's happening now.
Yeah, a lot of activity here off J Street. You walked 1 block eastbound. We do have units that are still going down that way. That's where the BevMo is right now. And we have a lot of police units that are now responding around that BevMo. As we mentioned, this is the second night in a row where it has been looted and people have broken into it. They are now responding around this BevMo right now. And so we're just 1 block away. The Memorial Auditorium is just to the corner of us. And it is a quieter scene here. We did get caught into a little bit of a sketchy situation when those officers pulled up. Many people, dozens of people, began running down the street, and so, but now it's a little bit calmer at this intersection, but still a lot of activity at that BevMo just a block from us.
Now, Vicki, you were in the middle of it all as it was unfolding. I know that there were people on the side of the streets near you, and it got a little chaotic. Walk us through what you were witnessing at the time, moments before, maybe in the last 2 minutes prior to us getting our pictures out live to you.
Yeah, I mean, and this is kind of indicative of the evening. As we go later into the evening hours, things can literally change at a moment's notice. When we walked up to the BevMo initially, we even drove to this location. We were able to find parking. We saw the BevMo. We didn't really see anybody inside. We saw the business owner or whoever's with that establishment, an employee, cleaning up outside. And then all of a sudden, we saw people going into the BevMo, taking stuff from the store. And then that's when you came to us live and you saw that black truck pull up and the law enforcement come out. Now that has pretty much evolved into many units surrounding this block of Midtown Sacramento, and as I just said, it's really indicative of the evening. It can be quiet at one moment, and then things can really escalate quite quickly.
Vicki, what are you, as these people have been running by you, have you been able to catch any of the conversations, anything that they might be saying as they're going in or running from?
Right.
That you can repeat?
When people were going inside and taking stuff, yeah. When people were going into the BevMo and taking things, there were people standing on the corner watching, and they were really disappointed about what they were seeing. I mean, that's saying it lightly. They were enraged about what they were seeing. They're like, this isn't why I came out here for this. This is ridiculous. We weren't supposed to do this again. So this isn't the sentiments of many of the people who are out here tonight. And as for others, when they were just running out of the BevMo, they were running out of the BevMo, so they didn't really have much to say. But there was definitely an intensity of energy as people are just running as fast as they can down the street in a large group.
Is this basically the group of people that you saw from your last location when you were telling us, I see them heading down this direction, not sure where they're going? Is this basically where they ended up?
Yeah, that very well could be, because when we were back at that other location that was across from the Sheraton, that's off 12th and J Street, and we saw people heading eastbound on J Street. We are now on J and 16th and 17th, so this very well can be those individuals who are walking down. And now that is really the center of an extensive amount of police activity right now.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of police presence just really converge on that area, many of them driving by in their cars on the block that you were standing at. We're happy that you were able to step back. What are you seeing in terms of law enforcement on that block right now?
Well, we can show you right now. So we are on the back end of a line of law enforcement. This is Sacramento Police Department. We are seeing them kind of go northbound we are on 16th Street and J Street. And some of the conversation is getting quite heated, but there isn't really any engagement on behalf of law enforcement. But yeah, I mean, it's just an extensive amount of units, as you can see, if you take a 360-degree view all the way down to BevMo. But yeah, this definitely seems to be the focus of this moment this evening. And I say this moment of this evening because the focus has changed throughout the city center, throughout the downtown corridor, from Doco to Midtown, to the Capitol, to Cesar Chavez Plaza. So in this moment, this seems to be really the focus of the activity from law enforcement.
Are there that many protesters still left there at that location, or did they all scatter?
A lot of them scattered, and we were caught up in that. But no, there are some that are lingering, and these are usually, at least from throughout the evening, from my experience, demonstrators that aren't participating in this, in terms of the vandalism and the looting. But they are kind of taking in what is just an extraordinary sight throughout the city of Sacramento. There is a group of individuals on this corner across from us where the Memorial Auditorium is. And there's a group of individuals there kind of hanging out, just kind of seeing where to go next. And that's really kind of how the evening has been, and it seems like it's clearly continuing to be that way.
It's interesting how much traffic is still out in that area. Is the thought that a lot of these cars are protesters? Do we know?
Yeah, a good amount of them are, from our vantage point. You know, they're honking in solidarity, they're blasting music, you know, shouting out words of solidarity to people who are on the streets. So I do think a good amount of them are with the demonstration. I mean, I think we do forget that we are in a pandemic, so maybe some individuals are staying in their car and showing their support while keeping a safe physical distance.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out at this point that, you know, Sacramento Police did do a few things to try to limit the number of people coming into downtown. There are roadblocks, Vicki, that are set up to prevent certain access points in and out of the city, and then also regional transit, Vicki, shut down the trains and the buses going in and out of downtown Sacramento tonight.
Yeah, and that's correct, and we've seen lots of people on bicycles, but you know, I think once you're in the city center, there really aren't roadblocks, so you can, once you get here, it probably took you a little bit longer in the early afternoon hours, but then it's easy to navigate from really what is a grid, and is very easy to travel from one location to another as these marches and these demonstrations evolve throughout the city.
And Vicki, you're standing, you said, on the corner of 16th and J, and that's across the street from the Memorial Auditorium. I believe that's the same corner where you have Mikuni's, P.F. Chang's, and also Starbucks. Are you noticing that any of those businesses on the corner that you're standing on right now, have there been any damage to those restaurants or those stores?
Yes, actually, we can show you that right now. There's P.F. Chang's, and the glass is broken. And if you just head right next to that, you see Mikuni's. Mikuni's has been vandalized as well. And so there are several businesses on 16th and J, notably P.F. Chang's and Mikuni's, that have been vandalized and broken into. But however, Kelly, if you flip it around, we see right here, there's Burgers and Brew. I talked to this owner right now, and he actually has been guarding his restaurant and brewery for the last couple nights, and he boarded it up, but he said it has not been vandalized. But he pretty much made it seem like he's sleeping there. He's guarding his business. And we've seen that actually a couple times this evening.
And we've seen that, you know, throughout downtown Sacramento today. I mean, a number of business owners were out there surveying damage from last night and then assessing their own risk and doing what they could to try to, like the one behind you, protect from at least some of that, you know, and at least prevent the glass break-in that makes for easier access to get in and loot. So, you know, the plywood doing its job, at least at that one particular location. Right across the street with Mikuni and P.F. Chang's, not the case.
So if you're just joining us
Right.
live now,
And
our
in
chopper
one
is
instance-
up above the area where the BevMo store is located. This is the corner of 17th and J Street in Midtown Sacramento. And about 15 to 20 minutes ago, we saw some looting happening right in front of our cameras. So I know we have a video clip of it, so we're going to play that for you. And as it plays, we're going to show you how this whole thing unfolded. So we see some people inside the store. They're scattering. Some of them have items in their hands as they run from the broken windows in the store. We saw this black truck that pulled up in front. We're told that there were officers inside that truck. They surround the building. You see some going around the front end, and then people coming out of the front end as well. And our cameras were able to zoom in, and you can see right here somebody jumping in the back seat with a bag with a red jacket and dropping some things out of the vehicle.